All right, let's get into it. Today we have a story that sounds, pretty simple on the surface. It's about a couple of school kids, a caretaker, and a door that gets locked at the wrong time. But trust me, what unfolds is this incredible lesson about how our tiny, everyday habits can have, well, huge consequences.
And really, the whole thing boils down to this one single question. Can something as small as a greeting actually save someone's life? It sounds dramatic, I know, but let's find out.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're at a busy school, and our story is all about these two students, Noman and Farman. Now, these two had this one simple but really consistent routine. Every single morning when they got to school and every afternoon before they left, they made it a point to find the school's caretaker and give him a proper, respectful greeting. No exceptions. And their greeting was always the same. Assalamu alaikum, which, means peace be upon you. It might seem like just a small moment of connection in an otherwise hectic school day, but that consistency, well, that's going to turn out to be the most important part of this whole story. So you've got this really interesting contrast, right? On one side, you have Noman and Farman with their calm, consistent, respectful habit. And on the other side, you've got the total chaos of a typical school day. You've got kids like Bablu whizzing around on what the story calls supersonic skates, totally oblivious to anyone else. It really shows you two completely different ways of moving through the world. Okay, so the school day is wrapping up, the halls are starting to empty out, and what seems like just another normal afternoon is about to take a very, very frightening turn. And you can see here just how fast things go wrong. It's a domino effect of these tiny, seemingly harmless moments. The last class ends at 5 o'clock. 10 minutes later, the boys pop into the washroom, but just a few minutes after that, the caretaker gets the all clear that the rooms are empty. By 5:20, that washroom door is locked from the outside, and the boys have absolutely no idea what just happened. And then comes that gut-wrenching moment of realization. They go to leave, and the door doesn't budge. Wait, this is locked. They start pushing, maybe shouting, but there's nothing, just silence. They are totally, completely alone. And you think it can't get any worse, right? And then, bam, the lights go out. So now they're not just trapped, they're trapped in the pitch black. And they have no idea if anyone is ever coming for them. Seriously, just stop and think about that for a second. Put yourself in their shoes. You're locked in a washroom, it's completely dark, and you're in a huge, empty school. That feeling of just pure helplessness, it's got to be overwhelming. What would even go through your head at that point? But here's the thing. While these boys are trapped and terrified, something else is happening outside. The solution to their problem is already in motion, and it all comes back to that one simple habit we talked about earlier. So to really get what happens next, we have to understand why they even had this habit in the first place. This wasn't just them being polite kids. They were practicing what's known as a sunnah, basically following the traditions and practices of the Prophet Muhammad as a model for how to live. So for Noman and Farman, this greeting was more than just words. It was an act of faith. And this right here, this hadith, which is a saying of the Prophet, is the why behind it all. It says that one of the absolute best things you can do in Islam is to feed people and to greet everyone, whether you know them or not. This isn't just a side detail. This context is literally the key to how this whole story turns out. All right, let's jump back to the caretaker. His shift is over, he's done his rounds, and he's literally at the main gate, keys in hand, ready to lock up for the night. But right as he's about to turn that key, something stops him. Something just doesn't feel right. And this is so fascinating, you can actually see his thought process play out. First, he's got the keys ready to lock up. Then he just pauses. He knows something is off, something is missing from his day. And then it clicks. Wait a minute, why didn't Noman and Farman say goodbye? He realizes they always greet me. The fact that they didn't is a huge red flag. He knows something has to be wrong. And instead of just shrugging it off, he decides to go back and check. He trusts that gut feeling. So he goes back inside into this big, dark, empty school. It's totally silent. But then he hears it, just a faint noise. And he follows that sound through the spooky, empty halls until it leads him right to that locked washroom. So he gets the door open, and the boys are obviously terrified, but so relieved. And once they're safe, they have to ask him the big question. You were already gone. What on earth made you come back for us? And this, right here, is the core of the entire story. The caretaker tells them, it's because you greet me Every single day. When you didn't do it today, I knew something was wrong. I knew you couldn't have left yet. He calls it the blessing of following the sunnah. It wasn't just luck. Their simple, consistent habit had created this invisible safety net, and when that net had a hole in it, he noticed. And what's so powerful about this story is how it perfectly illustrates the importance of these small social connections. In Islam, there are these 5 rights of a Muslim, and look at the very first one, to return a greeting. These aren't just suggestions for being polite. They're seen as these essential threads that hold a community together. So, in the end, it all came down to one small, consistent habit. That's it. When a whole series of things went wrong, it was that one simple act of respect, done day in and day out, that ended up being the key that unlocked the door. And that really leaves us with a big question to think about, doesn't it? What are the small, consistent things that we do in our own lives? You know, the simple hello to the security guard or asking the barista how their day is going. Things that feel so tiny and insignificant, but who knows? You might just be building an invisible safety net for someone, one that will be there for the exact moment they need it most.